Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Duck Zone. I am Sean. This is James. I almost said my name is James. Jeez, my name is Sean. This is James. Welcome back to the show. We've been off for a week. I was in Florida, but we are back, and there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in sports, and a big event is about to start. The 2024 Summer Games. James, how are you doing? How was your past week? Actually, we got breaking news out of you. I completely forgot we were talking before this, but I'm going to mention this right now. You got a hole in one.
I was gonna say, played golf this past weekend and striped a pitching wedge 150 yards, and it dropped, and I freaked out, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. I
Yeah,
don't know how else to describe it.
yeah. I completely when we were
It was
talking
awesome.
before this, I completely forgot about that, and it just hit me, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't. I have to make sure I bring that right off the bat. But I've got one in my day. I got one when I was like 12, 13. So par three as well. So
Yeah, I'm waiting on like a towel or I don't know. I had to give my information, so they're gonna send me something. So that'll be kind of cool to have something to
yeah, I got a
remember
little
it by.
trophy. I got a little trophy out of it. I remember that.
Oh,
Like it like
nice.
engraves like the club you used and stuff like that. That's in storage somewhere.
Right.
But yeah,
Well, maybe I'll get something like that. They had me fill out the yardage, the club I used,
yeah, it might be
made sure
something
that
like
my
that.
buddy that I was golfing with,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
made sure
probably
that my buddy I was golfing with signed it and was my witness. So
yeah. You have to give them like the scorecard. I know how that like all goes down. Um, but yeah, it's always like a really cool moment, like just off the bucket list of sports. Um, Bridging that, a lot of athletes in our country, a lot of athletes around the world gearing up to get their own gold medals, create their own you know crazy sports reality goals becoming true. Olympics start today. 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, France. James, what are you most excited about? What are you going to be watching? Floor is yours. What are you excited about?
so they actually already started technically. We had
Sure.
I think like I've seen handball and soccer and rugby, I believe, have technically already started just because they need a little more recovery time between matches. But yes, today is the opening ceremony, so hopefully I'll be able to tune into that. I'm actually heading out for a cousin's wedding over the weekend, but um, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to catch the opening ceremonies or at least find a recording of it. I always love watching that. It's always fun to see the flag bearers in the different countries and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, I definitely sway more towards like the aquatics, so swimming, diving. I always think is pretty interesting. I think Tom Daly is still diving for England, but like all the swimming events are super fun. I'm sure you'll talk about Katie Ledecky a little bit, so I won't get too much into that. But like track and field, which I think they now call athletics, that's always fun. I ran track in high school, so those are the most exciting. Basketball, obviously. I think they're doing 3-on-3 basketball, which may have been. You correct me. Was it in the last Olympics?
I think it was in the last Olympics.
Was it?
I'll just say something that's really funny about that. I looked at our like Jimmy Fredette is the guy. It's like who we
Oh
picking?
yeah.
Like why? But yeah. Well, I'll let you continue. I just saw that and I was like, who's our
Well,
MVP?
yeah.
And I was like, why? What's the rules here? So
I guess if you think about it, it's 3-on-3, but it's
yeah,
a lot of one-on-one basketball. So I don't know. Just like how people say FIBA play is different than NBA,
yeah,
hence what we've been seeing with Team USA and how they've been struggling to kind of put away the South Sudans. Germany put up a fight against us. They're also a good team. Canada's really good, but I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of skill to 3-on-3 basketball that
I don't
you
know.
can't just throw out LeBron, Durant, and Embiid and just oh, there's our
Yeah.
3-on-3 team. We're gonna dominate. They probably would, but I don't know. I will say this though: one sport I am interested in looking forward to. Maybe I shouldn't say looking forward to. I'm gonna tune in breaking, breakdancing. That'll be
Oh, that's a new one.
yeah. I don't know. That'll be kind of weird, but I think it's always fun because you. What else do you watch? Swimming and track and field. Like never.
Yeah,
So it's like you get so hyped about these sports because it's the Olympics, and then you're just rooting for all the Team USA people. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. How about you?
Yeah, breakdancing is going to be entertaining. It's always fun to see which sports get put in and kind of how the evolution of sport has changed over the years here. There's a lot of things that are getting added in, you know, in these upcoming Olympics and things that have been talked about that are always entertaining. So breakdancing, just that's amazing. Ping pong is always really fun to watch just for 5 minutes at a time because they just hit the ball so fast. It's really entertaining. Um, Basketball
They're
obviously
so
is
talented.
yeah, it's nuts. Basketball is obviously the one that will get the most eyeballs both on the men's and women's side. Um, I feel good about both the men and women's sides. They probably shouldn't lose, but we'll see. We'll see what Ledecky does. See how many gold medals, how many medals she can add to her count. That will be a big storyline. And then the gymnastics will have a lot of eyeballs led by Biles and see how far they go. They should do really well as well. Um, but yeah, kind of my big focus, and I think a lot of people in this country's big focus will be the basketball teams. If they lose a game, I mean, the women's, I don't think have lost an Olympic game in 6 years or in six different Olympics. It's been a long
But
time.
you know what they did lose?
They lost the
They lost
the
to the
WNBA.
WNBA All
Yeah,
Stars.
yeah. But I don't think the women will lose. I'll be shocked if they do. The men have a chance. I mean, they've won, their build up games, but it's not like they're blowing anyone out, and they could have lost to Sudan uh, a week ago or whatever it was. Um, and they play them in about a week. Or no, wait, sorry, about a week. Yeah, 5 days, 6 days. Um, so it would be interesting. They shouldn't lose. I mean, but I think it's going to be the game of basketball is worldwide now, so it's going to be interesting. I'm very. It's also these build up games as well. Just adding to that, it's amazing. Out of all the talent we have in the NBA, it's still 40-year-old LeBron James that's taking the final shot, and he's carrying the team. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's. I think you hit the nail on the head with like the game is so global now. So we have this American. It's so American to just be like, oh, we're USA, we have to dominate, and yes, we have the quote unquote best team I would say overall.
Yeah,
But when you look at like past MVPs, it's like who've won the MVPs? Jokic, I guess not Luca, but Luca's a top player.
yeah,
Giannis. Um, I'm gonna throw Embiid in there. In there, I know technically he's playing for Team USA now, but he's. I mean, he is an American citizen, but
yeah,
he's from another country. So the
yeah,
point I'm trying to get at, the world's catching up, and I think for Americans to just expect us to dominate is a little naive. Um, Not to mention all the players on our. You have to be really careful, I think, with like how you put lineups together. So I think that's what Steve Kerr was kind of playing with in these exhibition games, trying to find out who works well with who plays well, who's going to play defense, who's selfless enough to not worry about their, being the alpha. All these guys are the pretty much the number one guy on their team. So to just throw out a quote unquote all-star team and expect us to dominate when we're going up against South Sudan, who I don't know their history, but I would assume they've played together a little bit, and they don't have the NBA talent we do, but the FIBA game's different, and the chemistry they have is obviously pretty solid since they took
yeah,
us to literally the buzzer.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, the other thing that's really changed too is really the fact that you go back 20 years ago and you would play against a country and they may have one NBA guy, maybe two. Now you got like Team Canada, all 12 guys are in the NBA. Spain, I think I looked at their roster. I think it's nine of their guys are in the NBA, and then the other six are all really good in Europe to the extent that what I've seen in kind of like reports and stuff like that. All six guys could easily be in the NBA, but they'd be bench guys. They'd rather be in Europe and be, stars and getting a ton of playing time. Australia, kind of the same deal. Like all these countries, it's not like, oh, we're not back in the day where it's like, oh, we have one guy or two guys. It's like, no, actually, your whole starting five plus a role guy in here or two. They're all NBA guys and they're all well-known names. I mean, Germany's kind of even the same thing too. If I remember looking at that roster, it's a lot of NBA guys. I mean, it's just it's. I mean, the only
France.
one. Oh, yeah, France. Oh, yeah, yeah, France. Totally forgot about France. France is another one just loaded, and uh, it's just the game's so global now, and it's not what it used to be, where it was just like 20 years ago, one guy and like a whole bunch of all right fill-ins. Um, yeah, it's you're playing against the best, and uh, I don't want to say USA is going to struggle, but I think these games are going to be a lot closer than everyone expects. So,
Yeah, I
which I'll
saw some
transition.
stat. It was something like
Those go
one
for
thing
it.
real
Sorry.
fast. I saw some stat and it said the 1992 Dream Team played against like nine NBA players, and this team in this year's Olympics is going up against like 68 NBA players. So
Yeah,
it's a little different.
it's still different. Yeah, it's a
Not a
different
little, a
game.
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, especially since a lot of these. I mean, there was a time. Remember when the All Star game was USA versus the world? I mean, that's that's what we got. Transitioning to a sport that we should also do very well in. Should. Let's talk a little bit of soccer, women's soccer mainly. We'll also talk men's soccer as well. Men's soccer, unfortunately, you can only send what's 23 and below. The women's team will actually be sending their
Correct.
closer actual roster. How should we do on soccer since, everyone is, always keen on soccer? And then also we got a little recap.
Yeah, so the men's team, for me, it's a lot of younger players who they have a couple caps with the actual, like, I don't even know what to call it, main U.S. men's national team, I guess. Senior team. I guess
Mhm.
senior team is, I think, what it's actually called. So some of these guys have played for the senior team. Obviously, a lot of them are like, I guess you want to call prospects, guys who are, I mean, you said it, under 23. So you are allowed to bring three guys that are over age. So like Walker Zimmerman, he's a center back. He's been on Team USA for a long time. He's there. Miles Robinson, another center back. So, and other teams have, like France brought Alexander Lacazette. He's an old, not old, but, he's in his 30s. He played for Arsenal, French guy. He's been around. So you can have a couple guys older. And then on the women's side, like Brazil, I saw brought Marta. She's been, she's been around forever. So Team USA men's, I'm not expecting much. They lost their first match to the host country France 3-0. I think they'll be able to win their next two games. I know they play New Zealand and Guinea. So I think we'll be able to get out of the group. What we do from there, I mean, if we can maybe win one game in the knockout round, that'd be awesome, but I'm not really expecting much. The women's team, though, I wouldn't be surprised if they were the favorite. I know they're not coming off of a World Cup win. They actually had a really bad World Cup the last time they played in it, but new coach Emma Hayes from Chelsea, I think we've mentioned her on the pod before, and she was actually one of the names I couldn't remember when we were talking about the coaching search for the men's and about how the women's waited on her. She actually just took over this past June, so about a month ago, and she's like regarded as one of the best coaches in the world. So that'll be fun to watch. It's kind of a changing in the guard too. No Alex Morgan. That was weird watching that game yesterday. USA won 3-0 over, who did they play? They played one of the African countries. I'm blanking right now. Zambia. I think they played Zambia. So they'll be fun. They have Mallory Swanson, Sam Smith, Sophia Smith, um, Lindsey Horan. Some names that are probably familiar if you follow women's soccer. So I don't know. I'm picking them to win gold. I think they're gonna actually come together and have a good tournament.
Transitioning, last time we talked, we were going into finals of all the major tournaments that were going on. What were your thoughts? How'd you feel about all the outcomes? We'll give it like a quick 1 minute on it.
Yeah, they were two good. They were two good games. I watched them. I actually bet on them. I was up in Deadwood, which in South Dakota is the only place you can sports bet. So didn't win my bets, but that's okay. Funny enough, I have been talking Spain this entire time on the podcast. I think definitely 2 podcasts I've mentioned how I thought they were the best team. Got up to the sports book, and I said screw it. I went with England, and that was a mistake. So yeah, Spain won the Euros. Again, I thought it was a pretty entertaining game, and then Argentina won the Copa America, which, oh my god, that was a mess when it came to the game. Got delayed an hour and a half. People were crawling in vents. The whole security was all screwed up.
Yep.
And then to top it off, Messi like screwed up his foot. I saw he has like a ligament injury, so now he's out with Inter Miami, and it was the game itself was fine. Congrats to Argentina for winning, but yeah,
In the
that
end,
was
it just,
that was a mess by the Miami security or Hard Rock security. I don't know if Concabol provides their own, but they better get it all. Well, I guess Concabol won't be hosting the World Cup in 2 years, but Miami will be hosting World Cup games. So whoever's handling all that, get your shit together.
it's a good heads up for what's going to come in about 2 years. So it's a lot of major events, by
Yeah,
the way, coming to the States. We got that, and then 2 years right after that, we got Olympics herself. I mean, and then I guess on top of it, what it was announced earlier this week, what is the 2034? All right,
in Salt
winter
Lake.
going to Salt Lake. So yeah, a lot of major events coming to the States here in the next decade. Um, but yeah, thank you for the update, and we're going to talk a little baseball now, as big event happened this week in baseball. We got another no hitter in the books. No hitter number 324 in baseball history. Dylan Cease threw it against the
And it's still
Nationals.
just as special.
Yeah, Cease threw it against the Nationals. Almost had one in 2022. Got the last out. Didn't happen. Luis Arias, who's not a teammate, actually broke that one up. But what do you think of no hitters at this point? Do they carry the same amount of weight? We're getting about, on average, like 4-ish a year nowadays. What do you think of them? Are they a fluke thing? 320, 324, and something happens 4 or 5 times a year. Where should this weight be, in your opinion?
I think they're so important. I mean, baseball has been around the longest when it comes to like the 4 major sports in America, and like sort of like statistics. I mean, I know you have the whole steroid era and stuff like that, but like I don't know, baseball. Like you think about players, like Babe Ruth, and even prior to that, Shoeless Joe Jackson, guys like. I mean, the NBA, really came around in like when did statistics start getting counted in championships, like the '60s maybe. So I feel like
Yeah.
baseball's just been around for so long, but I still think no hitters are awesome. Whether they're a fluke or not, I don't know. I mean, you have guys like who was that A's pitcher, Dallas
Wallace Braden.
Braden?
That's the first name that came to my mind
Like,
too. And
what did he do? Like that
well,
was
he became
yeah,
became a
that was a crap.
commentator.
Andres Galarraga,
I mean, there's a
right?
lot of reasons.
Like,
Like,
I mean, you need a little bit of luck. You need really good defense,
yep.
but I think overall, like, I would say a majority of the time, your top pitchers get the no hitters. I mean, Randy Johnson threw a perfect game. Max Scherzer. I'm just throwing people out there. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but like I would imagine Max Scherzer's at least thrown one, maybe not.
I think he's
Jacob
got two.
DeGrom, like people like that, like names that Scherzer.
Scherzer, I think, has got two. I know he's got one because I remember he
Okay,
had one. He got one like it was like the last game of the season. I think he's got two, and I had him on my
okay,
fantasy team for all those years. So I know he definitely has one,
yeah.
but he might have
So I mean, I
Kershaw's
wouldn't
got
say it's a
one.
crapshoot. Kershaw does, yeah. So I
Yeah, I
wouldn't say
remember
it's a
that.
crapshoot, but I think you need a little bit of luck. What Cease did, I mean, I have Cease on my fantasy team, and
Mhm.
this was his third game without allowing a run. And he's definitely, I think, one of the. He's not a premier pitcher, but he's a name, and that was a big trade when he came to San Diego from the White Sox. So hats off to him. I did see something on Bleacher Report that he was coming out for the seventh inning or coming off the mound, having that no hitter through seven, and he shook his manager's hand, and the manager said, "Good job," and C said, "Good job." No, like I'm not coming out. He was
Yeah.
at 94 pitches through 7 innings,
Mhm.
and the manager was going to take him out. It's like, dude, your pitcher is 28
Yeah.
years old. He's a veteran. He's not a rookie. Let him go. And it
Yeah.
pisses me off when managers do that kind of stuff. Like, okay, Paul Skeens had a no hitter going through seven. He
Yep.
got pulled in the eighth inning. The reliever comes in first, maybe not first pitch, but first batter, base hit.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things.
I
There's a
don't know.
lot of them throughout history, and I can think of quite a few of them. And this goes really down the book, and this really shows you where I worked for a while. The ones that really come to mind, it was Ross Stripling's first start. I think it was first or second start, and he had a no hitter in San Francisco going, and I couldn't remember if he was in the sixth or seventh. He was at like the 100 pitch mark, but he had a no hitter going, and he got pulled. Granted, he was at 100 pitches already. The one that I remember saying, well, that was bad, and how the season ended, that was bad, was I think it was 2017. This is the year the Astros beat the Dodgers in the World Series. It was either that year or 18, I can't remember. Rich Hill was in Miami, and it had to be 17 because Puig was on the team, I'm pretty sure. Um, Rich Hill had he might have had a perfect game going through seven, and Puig made like a diving catch that was insane in the seventh, and then he got pulled in the same story, base hit up the middle in the eighth. That was bad. Um, and then the other one that drove me mad was this was probably last year, 2023, might have been 22 or 23. Kershaw was facing the Reds early in the season, and he had thrown like 70 pitches through six, and he got pulled with a no hitter. And it's like,
I want to
and
know
certain
how many no hitters is Dave Roberts just
wiped
ended?
away. He's wiped away a lot, and it's just like, in certain cases, like you gotta just let history unfold itself. And I understand, like, it's
I
let's
totally
talk about the
agree.
Dodgers for a second. Their IL is insane. It's not like they're saving anyone's arm. Everyone's getting hurt anyways. I mean, you might as well let history. I mean, Kershaw's going to go down as one of the greatest pitchers of all time already. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need another no hitter under his name. But it's like one of those things of it adds to his resume. And no one, unless you work the game or were a diehard Dodger fan, will remember the game that I'm talking about that happened in April. No one will remember it.
Right.
But if he were to have thrown a no hitter in April, yes, everyone remembers that. I mean, you don't remember it unless it happens. So,
And it's not
but
like
it's just
Kershaw's like a flamethrower. Like,
no.
let
I
him
mean,
go.
yeah,
I
let him
don't
go.
understand these managers who.
Well,
I
that
just
was
really
it.
don't understand these managers who pitch count is so. Like, I get it. Okay, great. He had 100 pitches. Nolan Ryan used to throw like 140. Greg Maddux used to throw like 120. Randy Johnson used to throw like.
Well, this
And I
this
know everything's about velocity now, and guys are throwing their arms out, but like it's getting ridiculous. This whole
well
analytics and
things over the last like 7 years have just 8 years have just turned so bizarre with analytics and like all this stuff. If this guy can't go past, I mean, I saw a tweet like this week because the trading deadline's coming up, and it was talking about the Dodgers because they're trying to go get more starting pitching, a team that doesn't need more starting pitching, trying to go get more starting pitching. There was a crazy stat that the last 21 postseason games the Dodgers have played in, the pitcher that they started hasn't gotten out of the fifth inning. That has nothing to do with the fact that the pitchers aren't good. That's the fact that you didn't get them ready for the postseason. Like, and this is
yeah,
the
it
same organization that you go back 10 years. I mean, if you want to see one of the craziest stats of all time, go look at Clayton Kershaw, what is summer of 2014. His starts between it's like June 1st, and this is where the no hitter happened, but it's like between June 1st and like August 31st, he has like a 12-13 start run, and the starts are absolutely ludicrous. I mean, it's like every single start is like 8 innings. He gives up like 2 hits, and I think in the whole 2 or 3 months, he gave up like 2 runs. It's like the most bizarre thing of all time,
hmm.
but they let him go. And it's just like you gotta let a pitcher when a pitcher's really good. You just gotta let him pitch.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold back a little bit. I could go down a rabbit hole about my opinions on pitch count and managers pulling pitchers too early, but I don't want to inundate everyone with nonsense, but
This
yeah.
could have been a whole
But
episode.
yeah,
Already.
anyways,
So,
going back to what we ultimately were talking about, Dylan Cease, no
yeah, good
hitter.
job. Good job. Yeah, and I agree. I think it's still a very very cool achievement. Obviously, stuff will go to Cooperstown off of it. Um, it's amazing that there's only been 27 perfect games, and the numbers are so drastic.
Yeah.
It shows you how hard it is to get a perfect game now. So
Well, like Cease today, I think Cease had 3 walks, maybe
yeah,
3 or 4 walks. So
yeah,
yeah, you think about perfect game. Now that's an achievement.
it's impressive. So goes back to that whole documentary of what is it, David Wells. I saw a clip on it like a week ago. David Wells talking about how he threw his
Pitching
perfect
drunk.
game when he was drunk. Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't realize like the fifth inning. Oh, this could actually happen. I'm actually pitching well. Uh, but all
Yeah.
right. Is there anything else you want to talk about, James, before we sign off?
Not that I can think of. Go Team USA.
Yeah, we'll be watching, and hopefully USA represents us well. Outside of that, football's around the corner, so expect a lot of football talk coming from us going forward for the next 6, 7 months. So um, that's all I gotta say. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful week. See y'all later.